Hi there. Today we're going to discuss extra practice number 16 through 20, page 165. This is chapter 2, lesson 7 for discount. There are two methods for this. I'm going to do both methods just so that whichever one you use, you'll be able to see. So our first example is a $40 sweater at a 33% discount. I'm going to use method 2. So that basically means I'm going to subtract the percentage of discount. So 100 minus 33 is 67%. So that just basically means we actually only paid 67% of the price. And just keep in mind that 67% is 0.67. And if you're confused on how we got that, um, you'll know that we took 67% and divided it by 100. So now I'm going to multiply our $40 times our 0.67, and that basically means that we only paid $26.80. All right, so our next example is a $199 MP3 player at a 15% discount. So here we're going to use method 1. So we're going to take our $199 and multiply it times our 15% discount. And remember, 15% equals 0.15. So I'm going to multiply it times our discount, and that's going to equal $29.85. And what you have to understand is that this is just your discount. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this amount, so 199 minus our $29.85, and that's going to give us a price of $169.15. All right, so for our next example, we've got a $12.25 pen at a 60% discount. I'm going to use method 2 for this. So 100% minus the 60% discount, that is a 40% that we're actually paying in price. And just so you remember, 40% or $40 is 40% or 40 over 100 is 0.40. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply $12.25 by 0.40. That's how much we're actually paying. And that's how we got $4.90. Okay, so here's our next example about Mrs. Robinson. She bought a novel at a bookstore on sale for 20% off. It's a regular price of $29.99. Mr. Chang bought the same novel at a different store, and that was 10% off of 25. So now which person received the better discount? So I'm going to go start off with Mrs. Robinson. Okay, she received 20% off of $29.99. So I'm going to use method 2. So 100 minus 20, that equals 80% of what we actually paid. Again, that's 0.80 because we divide 80 by 100. So Miss Robinson is going to pay 80% of $29.99. So $29.99 times 0.80, that equals we're going to have to do some rounding. It came out to 223.992. And just remember that if we're rounding, it stops at 2 decimal places. The 2 makes the 9 stay the same. So she actually only pays $23.99. So that's for Mrs. Robinson. Now for Mr. Chang, um, he pays 10% off. So if we take off that 10%, that's 90%. Again, that's going to equal 0.90. So he's going to pay 90% of $25. Okay, when we multiply that out, we get $22.50. So we can see here that Mr. Chang gets a better discount because his price is cheaper than this price over here. Okay. Number 20 is a little difficult because it's actually taking us back to, I believe it's lesson 5 about percent of change. So an online store is having a sale on digital cameras. The table shows the regular price and the sale price for the cameras. It says write a rule that can be used to find the percent of decrease for any of the camera. So now we're going back again to percent of decrease. So how you find the percent of decrease is you're going to subtract the 2 points. I'm sorry, the two prices. That finds the discount, and we're going to divide it by the regular price, and then we're going to multiply it by 100, and then we're going to round to the nearest percent if needed. So I'm going to do these examples with you. So for example A, we're going to make sure we subtract 97.99 minus 83.30. Okay, and that equals 1469. That's your discount. Okay, so your 1469 divided by your actual price, which was 97.99, that equaled 0.1499-ish. And then they said we have to multiply it times 100. So that equaled 14.99. And it said round to the nearest whole percent. So we're going to stop at the whole number. The 9 makes the 4 go up. So that's why we say that's about 15%. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and do B. So let's subtract our two amounts. So 102.50 minus the $82. That equals $20.50. So our discount was $20.50. So we're going to take our $20.50, divide it by our original price, and that is going to equal 0.2. Okay, that was pretty nice and easy number. We're going to multiply that times 100, so 0.2 times 100. That's going to give us our 20%. So that's how we got 20% up here. Let's do C now. C, we had 75.99 regular price and then a discount of 65.35. So we have 75.99 minus our 65.35. That's going to equal $10.64. Let's go ahead and take our $10.64, divide it by 75.99, and that's going to equal for us 0.1400. I didn't write the rest of the numbers down. But we got to take this number and multiply it times 100 to turn it into a percent, and that's how I got about 14%. Okay, there. All right, so let's do our last one, D. Um, D, we have our original price of $150.50, subtracting 135.45, and that's how we got $15.05. Again, this is our discount. We're going to take our discount and divide it by our original price, so 150.50. And luckily we got a nice clean number of 0.1. Take your 0.1, multiply it times 100, and that's how we got 10%. Okay? Now, the last thing that we had to do is which model had the greatest percent of discount. Our biggest number was 20%, so it was camera B with a 20% discount. Okay, hope that video was helpful. Thank you. Bye.